extrajudicial killings, cattle seizures, and harassment by game rangers is what the minority community of the Ma in Tanzania are complaining about, as the Tanzanian government is seeking to actually relocate them, according to them, forcefully from the Ngorongoro plains, where they say actually they have been living since the early 60s. Now, this issue has not started today. Now, as early as 1959, the British and the colonialists actually relocated the Ma community in Tanzania from the Serengeti deep into the Ngorongoro. Now, the reason being, yes, they believe that for wildlife to thrive, there needs to be no human activity. Now, this particular initiative has led the Tanzanian government to actually, relocate some of the Ma community from the Ngorongoro plains. Now, this, as you know, has not sat well with some of the Ma community, who have actually accused the Tanzania government of actually using brute force, with some of civil societies or civil communities in Tanzania saying more than 6,000 Ma community or Ma people have been displaced since this initiative started. Now, as recent as this past month, Ma community have taken to the streets to actually complain and air some of their grievances, because they term that the government is not listening to them. Cases that have gone to court have actually stalled or not been ruled in. The Tanzanian government had actually set to receive funding from the likes of World Bank, from the likes of from Germany and the European Union, which have actually delayed or pulled this funding, which was aimed at boosting conservation, restoration, and ensuring that tourism actually in Tanzania is actually going to be built into bigger places. Now, you do understand that tourism is one of the greatest pullers of GDP in Tanzania, with more than 2 million visitors in the past year alone. And how serious is the matter, you are asking? Well, number one, in June, the European Union stopped a 18 million euro conservation grant that it had actually dedicated to Tanzania. Now, Ana Hernandez, the spokeswoman at the European Union, said this came after internal review, where they actually analyzed the situation after two anonymous Ma community members had written to the European Union, actually telling them to look into this situation, because there were crimes against humanity, there were extrajudicial killings, there were cattle seizures, and there was oppression of the minority community of the Ma in Tanzania. Okay, now also the World Bank had allocated more than 150 million loan to the Tanzanian government for resilient natural resource management for tourism growth, which would run between 2017 and 2025. Now, last year, that is in 2023, the World Bank suspended this funding after numerous reports, and like I said, after Ma community had written to the World Bank telling them that there is a situation arising right here in Tanzania that needs your urgent attention. Okay, and like we said, more than 6,000 people have been displaced. Now, this, according to the Tanzanian government, these areas where the Ma are occupying around the Ngorongoro plains are wildlife sanctuaries, and they are demanding that nobody be within 1,500 square kilometers of this particular region. Now, like I told you before, this is not a situation that has happened before. In the early 60s, the Ma communities were relocated from the Serengeti to the Ngorongoro plains by the British and the British colonialists in that time. Now, the Tanzanian government had promised them that they wouldn't be relocated anymore or oppressed, but that has quickly changed. Now, you do understand that laws in Tanzania are very different. Land ownership in Tanzania is wholly owned by the government. Now, this would mean the government would have the right, to relocate, to invest, to build, and do whatever it pleases with its pieces of land. But it's not all bad. Some Maa community people have resorted to relocate, and the Tanzanian government has actually relocated them, given them a piece of land, constructed houses for them, and given them some funding in north of 6 million Tanzanian shillings thereabout. Now, the downside of this situation, or rather the upside of it, is that they can conduct farming as as compared to the Ngorongoro Plains, which are wildlife sanctuaries where they couldn't actually do farming and this sort of thing. Yes, but the most important question that lingers and remains is, as the Maa community are relocated, yes, what happens to their culture? What happens to their history?